Hello all, my name is Chickenly and welcome to this week's manga review. So unfortunately this week Chainsaw Man was on break, so this week we only have to review One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen, and actually even more unfortunately next week is, I believe Jujutsu Kaisen is on break. I'm not sure about One Piece, but so worst case scenario, we only have Chainsaw Man next week. Best case scenario, we have Chainsaw Man and One Piece. So let's just get on into it. So One Piece chapter 1059 is a fantastic chapter. It's a great start to the final saga. It's not technically like the first chapter of this final saga, but it's one of the first chapters. And so this chapter kind of has to do with the dealings of Blackbeard and the Marines' hunt of the warlords. So actually, that's like near the end of the chapter. To start off with the chapter, it's like Marco is taking a lift from Shanks back to, I can't remember what the island is called, but it's Whitebeard's home island. So there's oddly enough like a flashback back to Wano where the Straw Hats are talking with Yamato, and Yamato is basically like, actually, I'm gonna stay because that green dude, now that Wano's borders are like technically open, there's going to be a lot more people like that are just going to try and invade. I'm going to stay back to help defend. And maybe it's just the Yamato fan in me that wanted her to join so bad, but where the fuck does this make sense? Oh, it pissed me off so much. Like, first of all, why even have this flashback? Just fucking put this scene earlier in the other chapters. Like, fine, you can explain it then, but why have this flashback now to explain it? Also, Momo was so passionate about defending Wano on his own, not needing the Straw Hats. So I think like while Yamato may help, I feel like it makes more sense for Momo to defend it himself. Like, sure, whatever. Okay, so Yamato's not going to join, whatever. And then we finally get into more of the interesting stuff of this chapter is Amazon Lily, where Amazon Lily is being attacked by the Marines because they want Boa to turn herself in. So the Marines are using new pacifistas, which I believe is pronounced seraphims. I could be wrong in pronouncing that, but so they're using these new pacifistas which are, I think is like super interesting about the chapter is because they have black skin, white hair, and wings, which that means they're Lunarian, which is revealed at the end of the chapter, but they are members of the old warlords, which we see Boa and we see Hawkeye. So I'm wondering if, well, pretty much everyone else is thinking the exact same thing, that these pacifistas, these new ones, I should be saying seraphims, these seraphims are taken from the DNA of the former warlords. It's just like a lot of questions, like, are they technically robots or are they actually like children, because they were adapting to the fighting style? I don't know, it's just super interesting. So I'm wondering if they're like cyborgs or if they're robots. Also, how do they just have access to these Lunarians? And what's interesting is that these seraphims aren't like the old pacifistas. Like, they are fucking people up. They're fucking a Blackbeard. So it's like, it forces them to use Black Hole, and it's really cool to see that. I'm assuming Vegapunk made these, that they're keeping up with this technology. Like, they're continuing to evolve with these pirates, and that's how they're going to combat them. Besides that, Blackbeard comes in, and he's using the Earthquake Fruit to kind of shake up the Marines. He's oddly enough after Boa's Fruit, which I just don't understand why he would be. I'm sure there's an overarching reason why he is, but it just feels like an odd fruit to go after because it's based off their beauty. Like, if he were to use it, people would have to find him irresistible in order to be turned into stone, but that wouldn't happen because he's Blackbeard. He's fucking ugly as shit. So basically we get this interaction between Boa, Blackbeard, and the Marines, and especially Kobe, who comes in and is trying to get Boa to surrender herself. He's like, dude, if you just like surrender yourself, we'll be out of here. Like, we're not gonna fight anymore. But obviously Boa doesn't want to be a slave to anyone ever again, so she's not turning herself in. We get to a stalemate where Blackbeard is holding on to Boa. He has a bunch of his crewmates turned to stone. Kobe's Marines are turned to stone. So they're in a stalemate where they can't, Blackbeard can't kill Boa because he'll lose his crew, but if he lets go of Boa to turn them back into stone, she's just going to turn him into stone. We also get a line from Blackbeard where he's talking to Kobe about Rocky Port, and how Kobe helped them out. But so to break up this stalemate, Rayleigh shows up and kind of scares off Blackbeard, like just kind of with his intimidating presence. Like, he is the right-hand man of Roger that just has so much status to it. Blackbeard and Kobe even are like kind of shaken up, and so even without a fight, Blackbeard takes off. We actually get a line from Rayleigh that he's like gotten old, that the only reason he solved it is with his reputation, kind of indicating that he is not as strong as Blackbeard and these other Yonkos. Like, even though he has this status of like firsthand from the Pirate King, you know, he's gotten older, he's gotten weaker, and these other younger pirates are just continuing to grow further beyond him. And finally, at the end of the chapter, we get the reveal that Blackbeard took Kobe. There's a lot of theories or a lot of different possibilities that can come from this situation. I kind of have two main ones. I feel like one is he's going to take Kobe and turn him into Cross-Guild in order to get a bounty, or the bounty. And in that situation, he'll have a reconnection with Alvida. So I feel like that's one possibility, but also another possibility is like, why would he even want Kobe? Blackbeard doesn't do things just to do things. He has purpose and meaning behind it. So by taking Kobe, he definitely has a plan in mind. I'm not sure exactly what that plan is. While it might not be part of Blackbeard's like plan, I'm thinking about, because I've thought about it for a while now, and I think it'd be really cool to have like a recreation of God Valley where Roger and Garp teamed up to take down the Rock's pirates. But in this situation, we'd have Luffy and Kobe teaming up to defeat Blackbeard. Even though it kind of doesn't align with purpose for Blackbeard, I think it'd be a really cool setup for having Blackbeard take Kobe, Luffy finds out and goes to save Kobe, and then they team up and take down Blackbeard. I think that'd be like a really cool recreation of God Valley incident. Although I don't really think this is what it's leading to. I feel like there's definitely a bigger purpose behind Kobe's capture. I'm sure it's probably leaning more towards the Cross-Guild and turning him there. But like, what's the purpose of it even turning him into the Cross-Guild? Just for the bounty? That makes like no sense. I feel like it wouldn't make sense for Blackbeard to be interested in Cross-Guild. He has his own crew, his own Yonko crew. Why would he care about working with Buggy? So I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking maybe if he does turn him into Cross-Guild, he'll talk with Mihawk about the new Seraphs. But it's just like a lot of cool possibilities can happen from this. I don't know. It could be anything. And I'm really excited to see where it leads. Although, even now going back to the God Valley, like, theory I had where Luffy would go to save Kobe, I don't even think he would go to save Kobe because, you know, he's a Marine. And part of me, thinks maybe Luffy would do it just because he's friends. Part of it would be like, it's like the Marine's job to do that, you know? So I'm not sure. I feel like it'd be a different situation if it was Sabo that was captured, then he would go save him, but I'm not sure. Part of me thinks just because they're friends, he'll do it, but another part of me thinks Luffy will just be like, he's in the Marines, they'll get him. Anyway, that was the end of this chapter. Really cool chapter, a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of shit that annoyed me with like the flashback and Yamato having like a kind of a faulty excuse for not joining. I guess Oda just wanted to have a way for Yamato to just not join. So yeah, anyway, that is the One Piece chapter of this week. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 197. This picks off directly back from the fight with the sumo guy, and it's actually told that inside that domain they were fighting, and it only passed 1 minute outside of the fight. So once again, I'm just like a little bit confused on why the sumo guy was the one to teach Maki, but I'm fine with it. You know, she has this huge power surge, and she's more like Toji now. She feels more free. She feels more powerful. Naoya starts speeding up for another launch attack. And what's interesting is that Noritoshi thinks these are reincarnated players or incarnated players. But they're just like, nah, I just want to wield a katana. I just want to sumo. Like, it's just weird. So Naoya is flying through this city. Maki is like trying to keep up with him. And eventually they get to a point where they're both falling. But it's like that same kind of stance that Gojo and Toji had. Gojo had it with his like versus Toji fight, and Toji had it in Shibuya, where they just feel free and they're like falling. And so Maki starts to think even though she doesn't even know Toji, she's comparing herself to him because of how much they're alike, because, well, they both have the same heavenly restriction. So she's like, he could have gone higher, he could have deflected that attack, he would have done this without hesitation. It's just really interesting to see her compare herself to them. And she's like, it's more than just being the same as everyone else. There's only things that I can do. There's the only things that I can see. So that's what makes me unique, and that's what makes me free. And she even pulls a fucking Super Smash Brothers air dodge for some for some possibility. But she's like even talking about how she's feeling the differences in the air temperature and the density. So it kind of looks like that she's moving freely in the air, not like flying, but just like she's able to control her movement more. She's not even fucking hitting him with cursed energy. She's just punching the shit out of him, and it's fucking hilarious. So Sumo Guy and Katana Guy are kind of teaming up down at the ground. Maki punched Naoya to the ground, and now they're fighting. And they're fucking him up. And Naoya was like freaking out. He's like, "Why do you look like Toji? Why is this Toji? You know, he's obsessed with Toji." And at the end of the chapter, he's like reborn. So that was kind of like a cocoon, and now he's like kind of reborn. He's stretching himself out, and he breaks free. I'm assuming this is going to be like his final state. He's going to be reborn. And so when I said it'd be either this chapter or next chapter that he gets finished off, I'm starting to think that it's going to be next chapter, because in the end of this he uses domain expansion. So I'm super excited to see what happens. I wonder if he's only going to trap Maki or if he's going to trap everyone, because in this situation, if you only trap Maki, what can she do? She doesn't have the katana right now. She was just punching and kicking him with her just her strength. I think like the egotistical part of him will just pick Maki because he's just so obsessed with her. But also, I feel like he will just do it to everyone, since they're both right there. I don't even know where Noritoshi is, because only the three of them react to it. Only the Sumo Guy, the Katana Guy, and Maki react to this domain expansion. Anyway, those are the 2 chapters for this week. 2 fantastic chapters. Super excited to see where this fight in Jujutsu Kaisen goes. Super excited to where Oda takes the story next in One Piece. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I guess I'll see you next week.